Be me. 22 years old, decent job at tech startup, live with roommate Jake, who's been my best friend since high school. Jake's been dating this girl, Sarah, for 2 years, always bragging about how perfect their relationship is, how she's the one, marriage material and all that garbage. Honestly, couldn't stand listening to it anymore. Every single day it's Sarah this, Sarah that, we're so in love, blah blah. One day, Jake tells me that relationships are about trust and communication, that I wouldn't understand because I've never had anything serious. Something inside me just snaps right there. Inside, I'm going to prove that his perfect relationship is built on nothing, that Sarah isn't as loyal as he thinks, that the whole thing is a facade waiting to collapse. Not because I'm jealous or anything, just want to prove a point about how fragile these so-called perfect relationships really are. Start planning like I'm orchestrating some kind of heist movie. First step is getting close to Sarah, making myself seem like the supportive friend who's always there. Start showing up to their hangouts more often, offering to help her with stuff, being extra friendly but not suspicious. Jake thinks it's great that his girlfriend and best friend are getting along so well. What an idiot. Sarah starts texting me separately, asking for advice about surprising Jake, what gifts he'd like, typical girlfriend stuff. Perfect opportunity presenting itself. Create a fake Instagram account, make it look like some attractive girl from our college. Use photos from random modeling portfolios online. Name her Jessica and give her a whole backstory, studying psychology, loves hiking and coffee shops, all that basic stuff. Have Jessica start liking Jake's posts, leaving innocent comments, nothing too forward yet. Jake mentions this girl started following him, thinks it's just someone from his extended network. Tell him, yeah, probably just someone who knows someone, don't worry about it, bro. Meanwhile, I'm carefully crafting Jessica's personality to be exactly what would appeal to Jake based on 8 years of friendship. Over the next few weeks, have Jessica slowly escalate the interactions. Comments become more personal, then she slides into his DMs asking about a book he posted about. Jake shows me the messages, laughing about how this random girl is being friendly. I act casual, tell him it's probably harmless, but maybe don't mention it to Sarah because she might get the wrong idea. Planting seeds of secrecy right there. He agrees, says there's nothing to hide, but why create unnecessary drama? Exactly what I wanted to hear. Phase 2 begins with me becoming Sarah's confidant. Start having coffee with her once a week. She thinks I'm being a good friend, checking in on her, making sure she's happy with Jake. During these conversations, I subtly mention how Jake's been stressed at work, spending more time on his phone, seeming distracted. None of it is true. I'm completely making it up, but I say it in a concerned way, like I'm worried about both of them. Sarah starts to notice things that aren't there because I've put the idea in her head. Confirmation bias is a beautiful thing when you're trying to manipulate someone. One evening, Jake goes out with his work friends, normal Thursday night thing he does twice a month. I text Sarah asking if she wants to grab dinner since we're both free. She agrees. We meet at this nice Italian place downtown. During dinner, I casually bring up Jessica, saying I noticed some girl commenting on Jake's posts a lot. Watch her face change, the suspicion creeping in even though she tries to hide it. She asks me if I think anything is weird about it. I do this thing where I hesitate, like I'm trying to decide whether to say something, then tell her it's probably nothing, but Jake did mention someone messaging him. She's immediately on alert, asking what he said about it. Tell her he just brushed it off, seemed like he didn't want to talk about it much. More seeds planted. Sarah goes home that night and probably checks Jake's phone, but there's nothing suspicious there because Jessica's messages are friendly and sparse. This actually makes it worse because now Sarah thinks Jake might be deleting messages. The next day she texts me asking if Jake seemed off lately. Tell her I haven't noticed anything specific, but maybe she should talk to him if she's concerned. She doesn't though, because now she's in her own head about it. Meanwhile, I escalate Jessica's messages to Jake. Have her ask him to meet for coffee to discuss the book they were talking about. Jake's hesitant, but eventually agrees because he thinks it's just a friendly meetup and he doesn't want to be rude. He tells me about it, asking if it's weird. I tell him, nah man, it's just coffee, networking is important. Plus it's a public place, so who cares? He seems relieved to have my approval, doesn't realize I'm pushing him toward the cliff. The day of the coffee meetup, I tell Sarah that Jake mentioned meeting someone for coffee but was vague about who. Her anxiety goes through the roof. She asks me to find out more, says she doesn't want to seem crazy by asking him directly. Tell her I'll see what I can figure out. Obviously, I already know everything because I orchestrated the whole situation. Jake meets Jessica, except Jessica doesn't exist. so I have a girl I hired from Fiverr show up instead. Gave her the Instagram photos, told her to pretend to be Jessica, just have a normal, friendly coffee chat, nothing inappropriate, be slightly flirty, but not over the line. Paid her $200 for an hour of her time. She does it perfectly. Jake has a nice conversation. They talk about books and college and random stuff. He comes home thinking it was a pleasant, innocent meetup. Texts me saying the coffee was fine, Jessica seems cool, very normal interaction. I immediately text Sarah saying Jake just got home from meeting that girl, her. Response comes in seconds asking how I know and why didn't he tell her. Tell her he mentioned it casually like it was no big deal. Seemed like he didn't think it was worth bringing up. She's spiraling now. I can tell from the typing indicators appearing and disappearing. Finally, she asked me if I think Jake would cheat on her. I send back, I don't think Jake would do that, but the secrecy is kind of weird, right? Like, why not just tell you about it? Perfect response, plants doubt without accusing anyone. That night, Sarah confronts Jake about the coffee meetup. He's confused about how she knows, tells her it was nothing, just a friend from Instagram. She asks why he didn't tell her about it. He says he didn't think it was important, plus I told him not to create unnecessary drama. Wait, he actually tells her that I suggested not mentioning it. This backfires slightly, but I adapt. Sarah texts me immediately asking why I told Jake not to tell her. I act shocked, say that's not what I meant at all. I just said, maybe don't make a big deal out of random Instagram interactions, not to hide entire meetups. Tell her that Jake must have misunderstood my advice. She believes me because I've positioned myself as her ally this whole time. Now Jake looks even more suspicious because his story doesn't align with mine. The relationship is cracking. I can see it happening in real time. They're arguing more. Sarah's checking his phone constantly. Jake's getting defensive about his privacy. I'm playing both sides, telling Jake that Sarah's being paranoid, telling Sarah that Jake's being secretive. It's like watching a building collapse in slow motion, beautiful in its own destructive way. Decide to deliver the final blow. Create screenshots of fake messages between Jake and Jessica, make it look like they're planning to meet up again. Add some slightly flirty undertones, but nothing explicit. Use Photoshop to make it look authentic, matching fonts and colors perfectly. Anonymously send them to Sarah from a burner email account with a message saying, "Thought you should know what your boyfriend is really doing." Sarah loses her mind when she sees the screenshots. Confronts Jake immediately, shows him the messages. He's genuinely confused because he never sent those messages, tells her someone doctored them. This is insane. She doesn't believe him, thinks he's lying. 2 years of trust evaporating in minutes. They have this massive fight in our apartment. I'm in my room listening to the whole thing through the walls. She's crying, he's yelling, it's chaos. Eventually Sarah storms out, says she needs time to think. Jake comes to my room devastated, asking me what just happened. How did this spiral so fast? I comfort him, tell him it'll blow over. Sarah's just emotional right now. Give her some space. He's grateful to have someone on his side, has no idea I'm the architect of his misery. Over the next week, I continue to play both sides. Jake's trying to prove his innocence. Sarah's refusing to listen. I'm adding fuel to the fire with Sarah, suggesting maybe Jake's been lying about other things too, questioning whether she really knows him. With Jake, I'm being supportive, telling him Sarah's overreacting. Maybe they need to take a break if she can't trust him. 2 weeks after the screenshots incident, Sarah breaks up with Jake. He's completely destroyed, doesn't understand how his perfect relationship fell apart over something he didn't do. She moves out her stuff from his place. They have this final conversation where she says she can't be with someone she doesn't trust. Jake tries to explain one more time that the messages were fake, that someone is messing with them. She just says even if that's true, the foundation is broken now. Too much damage has been done. After she leaves, Jake sits on the couch staring at nothing for like 3 hours. I sit with him, pat him on the back, tell him I'm sorry this happened. He thanks me for being there through everything. Inside, I'm feeling this weird mix of satisfaction and emptiness. I proved my point. Their perfect relationship was just as fragile as I thought. Trust is easy to destroy when you know how to manipulate the pieces. Weeks go by, Jake's still depressed, barely eating, calling in sick to work. I start to realize maybe I took this too far. He's my best friend and I destroyed his happiness just to prove some abstract point about relationships being fragile. What kind of person does that make me? Try to push the guilt away, tell myself he'll get over it eventually. People break up all the time. One night, Jake gets drunk and starts crying, saying he really loved Sarah, was going to propose next year, had the whole future planned out. Shows me the ring he had already bought, kept hidden in his closet. Suddenly, the weight of what I did hits me like a truck. I didn't just ruin a relationship, I destroyed someone's entire future over my own twisted need to prove a point. Can't even look at him without feeling sick. Consider coming clean, telling him everything. But what would that accomplish? He'd hate me, I'd lose my best friend, and Sarah would still be gone. The relationship is dead and there's no bringing it back. Decide to just bury it. Take this secret to my grave. Every day I have to look at Jake and pretend I wasn't the one who orchestrated his heartbreak. Months pass. Jake slowly starts to recover. He goes on some dates, tries to move on, but I can tell he's not the same person anymore. There's this sadness in his eyes that never completely goes away. Sarah blocked both of us on everything. Moved to a different city for a job opportunity. Jake sometimes talks about her, wondering what she's doing, if she ever thinks about him. I just nod and listen, carrying the weight of knowing I'm the reason they're not together. The point I was trying to prove doesn't even matter anymore. Yeah, I demonstrated that relationships can be destroyed through manipulation and lies, but I also learned that destroying something just because you can doesn't make you clever, it makes you a monster. I broke two people who cared about each other for no real reason except my own ego and bitterness. The worst part is they still don't know it was me. Jake eventually moves out to start fresh somewhere new. Before he leaves, he tells me I'm the best friend he's ever had, that he doesn't know what he would have done without my support through the breakup. Shake his hand, wish him well, watch him drive away. Sit in the empty apartment surrounded by boxes and regret. Realize I didn't prove anything about relationships being fragile. I just proved that I'm a terrible person willing to hurt people I care about for the sake of being right. Tried to be the villain, succeeded perfectly. Now I get to live with the consequences of winning a game nobody else knew we were playing. Jake's somewhere trying to rebuild his life, Sarah's moved on, and I'm here with nothing but the hollow satisfaction of proving a point that didn't need proving. Sometimes at night I think about reaching out, confessing everything, trying to fix what I broke. But too much time has passed, and some things can't be fixed. Guess I learned the hard way that being right isn't worth being alone. Destroyed a relationship to prove relationships are fragile. Ended up destroying the most important relationship in my own life. The irony isn't lost on me. My face when I realized I became exactly the kind of person I used to mock. That feel when you win the battle but lose everything that mattered. Be me, Jake. 24 years old now. 2 years since my relationship with Sarah imploded and destroyed my entire world. Moved to Portland for a fresh start after the breakup, got a better job at a software company, trying to rebuild my life from scratch. Still think about Sarah every single day, still don't understand what actually happened to us. We were perfect together, had our whole future planned out, and suddenly everything fell apart over messages I never sent. The ring I bought for her is still in a box at the bottom of my closet because I can't bring myself to return it. It's Saturday morning and I'm at this coffee shop downtown working on some code when I get a message on LinkedIn from someone named Emma. Profile says she's a freelance actress and model, lives in my old city. Her message is weird, says she needs to talk to me about something important from 2 years ago, something about a coffee meetup. Immediately my stomach drops because the coffee meetup with that Instagram girl Jessica was the beginning of the end for me and Sarah. Heart racing, hands shaking, I message her back, asking what this is about. Emma responds quickly, says she was hired by someone to pretend to be a girl named Jessica, to meet me for coffee and act slightly flirty. Says she's been carrying guilt about it for 2 years and recently got sober, doing her amends in recovery, needs to come clean about the harm she caused. Tells me she was paid $200 through Fiverr, given Instagram photos and a whole fake backstory, instructed to meet me and have a friendly but slightly flirty conversation. I'm reading this message over and over. My brain can't process what I'm seeing. Someone hired an actress to catfish me? Who would do that? Why would someone do that? Ask Emma who hired her. She says she doesn't know the real name. It was all done through anonymous accounts and cash payment. But she kept screenshots of the original job posting and some of the instructions she received. Sends them to me and my hands are literally trembling as I open the files. The instructions are incredibly detailed, mentioning specific things about my interests, my personality, exactly how to engage with me. This wasn't some random scam. This was someone who knew me intimately, someone close enough to know what would appeal to me. Spend the next hour questioning Emma about every detail she remembers. She describes the person who handed her the cash payment at a Starbucks, says it was a guy in his early 20s, medium build, wore a baseball cap and sunglasses. Asks if I want to see the Instagram account that was used, says she still has access to it somehow. Tell her yes, send me everything. I need to understand what happened. She sends me login credentials to the fake Jessica account. Log into the account and my blood runs cold. Can see the entire conversation history between Jessica and me, but there are also draft messages that were never sent. Dozens of drafted messages that were clearly tests, trying to figure out the right tone, the right approach. Whoever made this account spent weeks studying my social media, my posts, my interests, crafting the perfect fake person to appeal to me. Then I see it, buried in the account settings, a recovery email address. It's an email I recognize, one I've seen before on gaming accounts and random signups. My roommate's email, my best friend's email. No, this can't be right. There has to be some mistake. My best friend, the guy who supported me through the entire breakup, who sat with me while I cried, who told me everything would be okay. He wouldn't do this. He couldn't do this. We've been friends since high school. But the evidence is right there. Undeniable. His email connected to the fake account that destroyed my relationship. I sit in that coffee shop for 3 hours just staring at my laptop screen, customers coming and going, baristas changing shifts, and I'm frozen. Everything is clicking into place now, memories replaying with new context. How he encouraged me to meet Jessica for coffee, said it was no big deal, just networking. How he told me not to mention the Instagram girl to Sarah to avoid unnecessary drama. How he was always there immediately after Sarah and I fought, always had the perfect supportive words ready. He knew exactly what to say because he orchestrated the entire thing. Call my older brother Marcus, the only person I trust right now. Tell him everything I just discovered. Marcus is silent for a long moment, then says that's messed up beyond words, asks what I'm going to do. Tell him I don't know, my brain is still processing, I can't believe this is real. He says I need to confront this guy, get answers, but be careful because someone who'd do something like this is clearly unstable. He's right, but I need to know why, need to hear him admit what he did. Spend the next few days gathering every piece of evidence I can find. Go through old text messages between me and Sarah, between me and my former roommate. Notice patterns I missed before, how he was always subtly inserting doubt, always available right when things were falling apart. Find messages where he told Sarah things that weren't true, told me things about Sarah that created distance between us. He played us both perfectly, and we never suspected because he was supposed to be on our side. Also, reach out to Sarah for the first time in 2 years. Send her a long message explaining what I discovered, attaching all the evidence, the screenshots from Emma, the fake Instagram account details, everything. Don't even know if she'll read it. She blocked me on everything after we broke up. But I have her email from old correspondence. 3 days pass with no response, and I think maybe she deleted it without reading. Then I get a response, short and cold, just says, I need time to process this. Don't contact me again yet. At least she read it. At least she knows now that I wasn't lying, that someone really did fabricate everything. Decide I need to fly back to my old city to confront him in person. Can't do this over the phone or text. Need to see his face when I ask him why he destroyed my life. Marcus offers to come with me, but I tell him no. This is something I need to do alone. Book a flight for the following week. Spend every day until then rehearsing what I'm going to say, how I'm going to stay calm. Land on Thursday evening. Rent a car. Drive to the apartment complex where he still lives according to his social media. Sit in my car outside for 30 minutes trying to build up the courage to go inside. Finally walk up to his door and knock. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. He opens the door and his face goes white when he sees me. Immediately knows something is wrong. Asks what I'm doing here. Thought I was in Portland. Why didn't I tell him I was visiting? I push past him into the apartment without saying anything. He's stammering, asking what's going on. Turn to face him and ask him directly, did you create a fake Instagram account to catfish me 2 years ago? Watch his expression change, the mask slipping, guilt flashing across his face before he tries to compose himself. He starts to deny it, says that's crazy, why would I think that? I pull out my phone and show him the screenshots, the email address, Emma's testimony, everything. His face crumbles and for a moment he just stands there, silent, caught. Finally he sits down on the couch and puts his head in his hands, admits it, says yes he did it, says he's sorry, says he never meant for things to go that far. I'm standing over him, and I can feel rage building up inside me like nothing I've ever felt before. Ask him why. Why would you destroy the best thing in my life? Why would you hurt both of us like that? He starts explaining about how he wanted to prove that perfect relationships were fragile, that Sarah wasn't as loyal as I thought, some twisted logic about teaching me a lesson. None of it makes sense. It's just justifications and excuses for cruelty disguised as friendship. Tell him that I had a ring, that I was going to propose to Sarah, that he didn't just ruin a relationship, he destroyed my entire future. He says he knows. He saw the ring. He realized too late what he'd done. Asks if there's any way I can forgive him, if we can work through this. We've been friends for so long. I laugh. It's this bitter, hollow sound. Tell him that friendship ended the moment he decided to play God with my life. He stands up and tries to approach me, reaching out like he's going to put his hand on my shoulder, the way he did when he was pretending to comfort me. Something snaps inside me when he touches me. Every moment of pain from the last 2 years, every night I spent crying, every time I looked at that ring, it all explodes out. I shove him hard and he stumbles backward into the coffee table. He's saying my name, telling me to calm down, and that just makes it worse. Rush at him and tackle him to the ground, my fist connecting with his face once, twice, 3 times before I even realize what I'm doing. He's trying to cover his face, yelling at me to stop, blood starting to come from his nose. Hit him again, all the rage and betrayal pouring out through my fists. He manages to push me off and scrambles away, backing into the corner of the room. I'm breathing hard, my knuckles are bleeding, his blood is on my shirt. He's crying now, saying he's sorry over and over, begging me to stop. Realize what I just did, how I lost control completely, attacked him, even though I came here just to talk. But I don't feel guilty. I feel like he deserved every hit and more. Tell him he's pathetic, that he's not even worth this anger, and I turn to leave. He calls after me, saying he's sorry again, asking me not to go. I slam the door behind me and walk out of that apartment building. Get to my rental car and sit there, hands shaking, adrenaline wearing off. My phone rings and it's Sarah calling. First time I've heard her voice in 2 years. Answer it and she sounds different, harder somehow. She says she's been investigating too, reached out to some mutual friends, found more evidence of what he did. Tells me she believes me now, that she's sorry for not trusting me back then, that she should have known something was wrong. We talk for an hour, both of us crying, both of us processing the fact that someone we trusted destroyed us for no real reason. She asks if I confronted him, and I tell her yes, admit that I lost control and hit him. There's a long silence, then she says she understands why, that she's fantasized about doing the same thing. We talk about whether there's any chance for us, whether too much damage has been done. She says she doesn't know, that she needs time, that even knowing the truth doesn't erase 2 years of pain and separation. I tell her I understand, that I just wanted her to know the truth, that I never betrayed her. We agree to take things slow, maybe meet for coffee in a few weeks, see if there's anything left to salvage. Hang up and feel something I haven't felt in 2 years, hope. It's fragile and uncertain, but it's there. Drive to a hotel and check in, planning to fly back to Portland the next day. Wake up the next morning to my phone ringing. It's Marcus asking if I'm okay. Tell him about the confrontation, about hitting him, about talking to Sarah. Marcus is quiet, then asks if I'm prepared for potential consequences of the assault. Hadn't really thought about it. Was too caught up in everything else, but he's right to worry. 2 days later, I'm back in Portland when I get a call from a police detective in my old city. My former roommate filed assault charges against me, provided photos of his injuries, gave a statement. Detective says I need to come back and turn myself in, that they have enough evidence to charge me. My stomach drops, realize the consequences of losing control are catching up to me. Call a lawyer that Marcus recommends. Explain the whole situation, the manipulation, the catfishing, everything. Lawyer says that doesn't justify assault, that I should have called the police instead of taking matters into my own hands. Fly back a week later with my lawyer to turn myself in. Get arrested, fingerprinted, photographed. The whole process is humiliating and surreal. Post bail that afternoon. Lawyer says we're looking at potential jail time depending on the prosecutor and judge. Former roommate apparently suffered a broken nose and has photos of bruising and swelling. Lawyer says the best strategy is to plead guilty to a lesser charge, show remorse, explain the emotional circumstances without using them as an excuse, spend the next few months going through the legal process, court dates, meetings with prosecutors, psychological evaluation. Sarah reaches out during this time, says she feels partially responsible even though my lawyer tells her not to say that. We meet for coffee finally. It's awkward and painful, but also familiar in some ways. She looks different, more guarded, but there are moments where I see the girl I fell in love with. We talk about what happened, about the manipulation, about whether we can ever trust anyone again. She tells me she submitted a victim statement to the court about what the manipulation did to both of us. Says she described the emotional abuse, the calculated destruction of our relationship, how it affected her mental health for 2 years. My lawyer uses this along with character references from friends and family to argue for leniency. Prosecutor offers a deal, plead guilty to simple assault, serve 6 months in county jail, 2 years probation, anger management classes. Lawyer says it's a good deal considering I could have gotten much worse, recommends I take it. Accept the plea deal in court, have to stand there and admit that I assaulted him, that I lost control, that I take responsibility for my actions. Former roommate is there in the courtroom, looks smug until Sarah stands up during the victim impact statements. She absolutely destroys him verbally, explains in detail what he did to both of us, how he manipulated and gaslit us for months. Calls him a coward and a sociopath, says that while what I did was wrong, what he did was calculated psychological torture. Judge listens to everything, then sentences me to the agreed 6 months, says that while my actions were unacceptable, he understands the extreme emotional circumstances. Start my sentence the following week at county jail. It's horrible, exactly as bad as you'd imagine, sharing a cell with people who've done much worse things. Use the time to think about everything, about anger and revenge and consequences. Sarah writes me letters every week. We're slowly rebuilding something, though neither of us knows exactly what it is yet. She tells me she's in counseling now, working through trust issues and the trauma of the manipulation. Tells me she wants to try again with us when I get out, but we need to take it incredibly slow. 3 months into my sentence, I get a letter from Emma, the actress who reached out to me originally. She says she submitted her own statement to the police about being hired to catfish me, about the manipulation scheme. Apparently, they're now investigating my former roommate for potential fraud and harassment charges. Gives me some satisfaction to know he might face his own consequences, though I know the legal system might not see it as criminal. Also, during my time inside, my brother Marcus keeps me updated on former roommate's life falling apart. Apparently, once word got out about what he did, mutual friends dropped him immediately. He got fired from his job after someone reported the situation to his employer. Moved back in with his parents because he couldn't afford the apartment alone. His social media accounts are deleted or locked. Basically became a pariah. Served my full 6 months with good behavior. Get released on a Tuesday morning. Sarah is there waiting for me outside the jail. First time I've seen her in person in months. We hugged for a long time, both of us crying, both of us damaged, but still here. She drives me to a halfway house where I'll be staying during my probation, helping me carry my few belongings inside. We sit in her car afterward and talk about what comes next, about rebuilding trust, about whether love can survive this much trauma. She takes my hand and says she wants to try, that we both deserve a chance to have what was stolen from us. Tells me that she's different now. I'm different now. We can't just pick up where we left off. Have to build something new from the ruins of what we had. I agree. Tell her I'm just grateful she's willing to give me another chance, to give us another chance. Start the process of rebuilding my life. Attending anger management classes twice a week. Meeting with my probation officer, looking for jobs that will hire someone with a criminal record. It's hard, much harder than I imagined, but Sarah is there supporting me through it. We go on dates like we're teenagers again. Movies and dinners and long walks, slowly remembering why we fell in love in the first place. 6 months after getting released, I hear through mutual friends that my former roommate is facing charges after all. Apparently, the district attorney decided that what he did constituted criminal harassment and fraud. Feels like justice finally catching up to him, though I know it won't undo the damage he caused. Sarah and I are both asked to testify if it goes to trial about the emotional and psychological impact. We agree to do it, to tell our story, to make sure what he did to us is documented and acknowledged. Standing in that courtroom months later, holding Sarah's hand, telling our story to a judge and jury feels like reclaiming some power. Former roommate looks small and pathetic at the defense table, his expensive lawyer trying to minimize his actions. Jury deliberates for 6 hours, comes back with guilty verdicts on multiple counts of harassment and fraud. He's sentenced to a year in jail and 3 years probation. Has to pay restitution to both me and Sarah for emotional damages. Walk out of that courthouse with Sarah and feel like maybe we can finally close this chapter. We're not perfect. We have bad days where trust issues surface, where the trauma comes back. But we're trying. We're fighting for each other instead of against each other. Eventually, I moved back to our old city to be closer to Sarah, get a decent job at a startup, complete my probation without issues. 2 years after getting out of jail, I take Sarah on a hike to the spot where we had our first date. Pull out the ring that's been sitting in a box for over 4 years now. Ask her to marry me. Tell her that we've been through hell and back, that I want to spend the rest of my life proving that what we have is real. She says yes, crying and laughing at the same time. And for the first time in years, everything feels right. We don't talk about my former roommate anymore. He's a ghost from our past. Heard through the grapevine that he moved to a different state after getting released, trying to start over somewhere nobody knows what he did. Don't care where he is or what he's doing. He's lost the power to hurt us. Sometimes I think about how close we came to losing everything forever because of one person's twisted need to prove a point. Think about the 6 months I spent in jail, the criminal record I'll carry forever, the years of pain we both endured, but I also think about how we survived it, how we fought our way back to each other despite everything. Getting married next spring, small ceremony with close friends and family who supported us through everything. Marcus is my best man. Emma, the actress, is actually invited because without her coming forward, we might never have known the truth. Life isn't perfect. We both still go to counseling, still have moments where the past creeps back in. But we're here, we're together, we're building the future that was almost stolen from us. My face when I realize that some people are willing to destroy others just to feel powerful. That feel when you fight through hell to reclaim what was taken from you and actually succeed.